Hello everyone, welcome to Sensible Fitness, and in today's video we'll be talking about three simple fitness terms, and these are terms referring to movements. So the three terms are concentric, eccentric, and isometric. So what do these terms actually mean? How are they used in real life? How are they used in the gym? How they can be used in your training, etc. So all these three terms essentially refer to how a muscle moves when under pressure. Concentric motion means that the two ends of a muscle move closer together while under pressure. A great example of this would be your bicep curl. When you're doing your bicep curl, you take your bicep from a very stretched position and you bring the two ends of the bicep, which start somewhere over here in the forearm, all the way to here in or close to your front delts, and you bring them closer together. The eccentric movement is the exact opposite. It is the movement of a muscle under pressure or force, but it's a movement where the two ends of the muscle move further apart. Now, again, we can use the bicep curl to sort of give you a simple example of this. On the eccentric phase of the bicep curl, you can see that the two ends of the biceps, again, from the forearm to the front delts, move apart or move further away from each other. Just a note about the eccentric portion of the exercise is that when you are doing your exercise, you don't just want to drop the weight when you do reach the eccentric portion of the exercise. For example, let's take the bicep curl. When you do get to the bicep curl and you get to the eccentric portion, you don't want to just drop weight, but you want to go slow because you're actually much stronger on the eccentric portion of the exercise than you are on the concentric portion. And you definitely want to take advantage of that when you're in the gym and when you're doing your exercises. The third type is called isometric. Now, in isometric, you put pressure on the muscle, but the muscle does not move. So it's essentially putting pressure on the muscle in one particular position. A great example of this would be your planks. Now, in a plank, you just stay in one position, and your abs and your core have to work to keep you stabilized in that particular position. Now, where do we see these motions in real life? Well, we see the concentric and eccentric motion a lot in movement, because when you actually move your body, muscles either have to contract or have to expand. So you will see the concentric and eccentric motion while moving your body. You will also see the isometric motion, but it won't be quite as obvious. So a great example I can give of this is your ab muscles and your core muscles. So when you walk or when you run, or even if you're just standing, you may not realize it and you may not feel the tension on your muscles, but your ab muscles and your core muscles are working to keep you stabilized. So this is a great example of isometric pressure on the muscle where the muscle is being worked, where you do put pressure on the muscle, but the muscle doesn't actually move. Now, how can these muscles actually be utilized in gym or in training or any other place like that? Well, there are two essential ways that these can be used. One is for actively building muscle and maybe growing your muscles or your strength, and the other way is to help in the more supplementary activities such as muscle activation, maybe increasing the mind muscle connection of some of our weaker muscles, some of our lesser used muscles, stuff like that. Now, when it comes to muscle activation, you will mainly be using concentric and eccentric activities because most of the muscles which we hope to build and we hope to actually strengthen are muscles that will contract and that will relax. So these are muscles that can definitely be built with concentric and eccentric motions. However, this does not mean that isometric exercises have no actual contribution to building muscle or to getting power, because for muscles which are stabilizers, so for example, as we discussed previously, your core muscles or your ab muscles, or in a much better example, your lower trap muscles. Now, these are not muscles that really move a lot. They are primarily stabilizer muscles, so they cannot be really trained using concentric and eccentric motions. So for those muscles, you do need isometric exercises to help build those muscles as well. As discussed previously, the planks. In the planks, you don't move a lot. You are just in one position and you're just putting pressure on your abs. But that does help build your abs because your abs is, of course, a stabilizer muscle. And that's how you can actually build stabilizer muscles using isometric exercises. Now, on the other side of it is muscle activation. Isometrics are absolutely brilliant for muscle activation. And as you all know, muscle activation is, of course, very, very helpful when it comes to building muscle, building strength, or building your efficiency when it comes to any particular sports. Making sure that every muscle that you need to use for a particular sport, or indeed for any kind of particular motion, for example, let's say your squat or your hinge, making sure that all the muscles are properly activated and making sure that you have very good mind muscle connection with all the muscles in that particular movement, or muscles that are used in that particular sport, is very important to help avoid injuries, and is also very important to improve your performance, be it in one particular movement, one particular exercise, or indeed in a particular sport. Another great way that you can actually use isometric exercises in muscle activation is in warming up. You can use isometric exercises to help warm up the muscles, and that will help the muscle much better when actually under pressure, or when you're actually exercising using the weights that you normally use. However, again, as with muscle building, this does not mean that concentric and eccentric motions do not have anything to do with muscle activation, or indeed helping you warm up for an exercise. When it comes to any particular movement, or when it comes to any particular exercise, just doing that exercise over and over again over a long period of time will help you get more efficient with it. So that will help you build the mind muscle connection required. Just doing the motion over and over again will help you become more efficient at that particular motion. However, that's not the extent of it. Doing the exercise but with much lighter weights can also help you warm up to that exercise. For example, if you're used to doing squats at a certain weight, let's say X, warming up your squat with say 30% of your normal weight, then warming up with 40%, then 50%, then 60%, and then 70% of your weight is a great way to actually warm up for your squat session. Apart from that, there's of course this thing called zero momentum reps. Now, this is essentially using a lighter weight than you're usually used to, so about 50 to 60% of the weight you're used to, and doing zero momentum reps. The main point of these reps is to concentrate on every single part of a particular motion or a particular exercise, is to make sure that every single muscle that is supposed to be worked actually gets worked. And essentially, it's to remove momentum, as the name states. So what this ensures is that every muscle that's supposed to be working, or that's supposed to be moving this weight, does get activated. And of course, this helps build the required mind-muscle connection with these muscles. And that was it. That was the video on concentric, eccentric, and isometric exercises. If you like the video, please like, share, and subscribe. Please do click the bell icon when you do subscribe, so that you can be notified every time I drop a video. Do check out our other podcasts. Check out the K2A podcast if you're interested in school stories and stuff like that. If you're interested in music, please do check out the Basic Trouble podcast. If you're interested in gaming, That Indian Gamer. If you have any doubts about today's topic, or if you have any questions or topics on which I can make a full-fledged video, please do leave them in the comments down below, or you can email me or DM me on Instagram. All the links, as usual, will be down in the description. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.